Hi guys, really excited to share this experience and these images with you. This is Tila. We've just started working together on her modelling portfolio, and this is literally the first day. It's amazing. She's such a natural. Look, that she's not done this before, guys. I just said, oh, could you just stand over there? Didn't really tell her how to pose, and she just kind of stood there in this completely amazing natural way. And I just wanted to bring your attention in this video to the attention to detail. So just look here at just a simple change in perspective, in viewpoint, sorry. So just taking a lower viewpoint can really draw the eye up. Do you see that? It can make people look taller, accentuate their legs. It's really a good idea, particularly when photographing models, to take a low viewpoint. And I think the background actually looks better here because you've got more of the trees. It's just all round a better shot, isn't it? I love the subtlety of this, right? Can you see how the image on the left in Tila's face, just her expression, she's looking slightly more round to the right, only a tiny bit, and the sun on her face, there's just something so much more intentional looking than the image on the right. Can you see that? It's so subtle. Just more intention there somehow. Love this. I'm really looking forward to editing this shot, and you can see there's quite a distracting bright highlight on the right hand side of like that wall in the background. A vignette is sometimes good for things like that, but yeah, can't wait to edit this. This one, I just wanted to bring your attention to legs, okay? Now please bear in mind, these shots are all raw files, guys. I'm just so excited to share them with you. I haven't even started editing them yet. So they're all raw files, so I haven't cropped any of them, haven't edited any of them. So compositionally, I probably want to take a bit off the top here, but I'm kind of experimenting with my lens. There's a question I've got, right, that I've never managed to get answered. I asked somebody in a camera shop, but they didn't know the answer. I'd love it if any of you would know. Because I love shooting with such a shallow depth of field, like I often actually shoot on 1.4, f1.4. I think this was f1.7, this shot, but basically, hang on, I'm gonna have to check that now. This is f2, guys, shot at f2, and I was a little bit wary of shooting at f1.4. I love shallow depth of field, as you know, but do any of you know the answer to this? This might sound like a really daft question, but I have noticed that when I'm shooting at a really shallow depth of field, the tiniest movement of the subject that I want to be in focus being away from the centre of the lens seems to throw it out. Now, obviously the curvature of the lens and the aberrations towards the outside of the lens are going to affect the depth of field, but if I'm moving my focus point, so the red square, I'm moving it away from the centre, I always thought that then that becomes your point of focus that will be absolutely sharp regardless of where that point is. Do you see what I'm saying? I mean, it's really bizarre, but I've started to try and leave the subject that I want in focus bang in the centre of the lens and then crop it, but it's a bit inconvenient really. I'd rather compose the shot as I'm taking it. Do you see what I'm saying? So do any of you know, is this right what I'm saying, that it falls slightly softer when you take the focus square away from the centre of the lens? Is that what's happening, or is it something else? I am shooting with quite old lenses, so I'm aware of that, but I'm really keen to get everything as sharp as possible in the future. So on single point focusing, what I used to do would be focus in the centre and then recompose the shot, holding the shutter release down, recompose the shot, then take the shot. But again, when you're shooting at such a shallow depth of field, that's not ideal either, because you can end up in a slightly different position and therefore throwing things out of focus. So I'd really like to find the solution to this. So anyway, that's why there's so much space above Tila's head. But legs, look at the legs. This is probably a better example. When they're slightly apart, it can be less flattering. So I always shoot on, as John Bigglestone would call it, machine gun technique, burst mode, so that I get the model walking, and as their legs cross over, and always show your model, guys, to just cross the ankles over as they walk, then you get a more flattering look when the legs cross over, and also the arms are like one behind, one in front. It's quite a flattering look as well. Do you see that? The other thing is also such a subtle shift, subtle change, is the weight of the body on the legs. So as you can see here, the weight, Tila's weight has gone to her front leg, like the leg that's in front, so her right leg, and it's quite a nice sweeping look. Do you see how her left leg is kind of sweeping behind, right? I really like that. And her ankle's not looking awkward behind, it's quite nice and straight, so it's a great look. As you can see here, so on the left shot, her ankle's looking slightly more awkward there, but again, the weight of her body is on her right leg. In the other shot on the right, the weight of her body is on her left leg, right? Because she hasn't stepped onto her right foot yet, okay? So can you see this difference? Can you see the not only visually, but the difference in energy of these two shots? When her weight is on her left leg, so the picture on the right, she's kind of charging forward, really intentional, motivated. There's like a high energy to the image, like moving forward. But in the left shot, where she's already taken that step, it's almost like more of a surrendered energy, a flowy state, like she's in the in-between somehow. And that it's just, for me, it's just like a different energy to the photo. So if these images were being used for advertising, I think it's really key to just note these subtle changes. You know, there's a much faster, more, I don't know, empowered perhaps energy to the one on the right. But to the left shot with the legs how they are, it's a softer energy, you know, it's softer, it's just a more gentle feel. So I just love this. I absolutely love this. I love looking through these photos and just noticing how these subtle changes affect the whole shot. Okay, so like this one. Look at the difference between Tila smiling and looking at the camera to looking away from the camera with less of a smile. Can you see how that looks like more of a professionally posed image on the right hand side there? Such a subtle difference, guys. Again, I know the composition's a bit not great, it's particularly on the one on the left. I need to crop this, but as I say, these are raw files. I love how the light is illuminating the background here. I purposely took Tila into the shade because we'd shot her a lot in the sun, and I love this lightness in the background which gives a lovely contrast against her dress, and then the white of her shirt just falls against the brown of the trees there. It's yeah, it's just so much fun. It was so much fun, guys, and it's so lovely to fall into something that I so enjoy doing, and working with somebody who is excited like me about fashion and the sunlight and photography. Tila's got a lovely interest in photography as well. She's very artistic. She's got a lot going for her, and she's just so creative. And when you get to work with somebody that's also a creative in this way, you're just on the same page, and so the shoot really flows. It really flows, and I can't wait to do more with Tila. There's going to be loads more coming up. Guys, I'm also noting how I'm feeling and how I'm putting myself across in I don't want to keep going on about this, but the wedding compared to this shoot, I think we can so easily put ourselves under so much pressure to be there for other people and do the things that we're presented with out of guilt or just feeling like we should. And this experience, the contrast of how I felt doing this shoot with Tila compared to shooting the recent wedding, the contrast of just how I feel is so eye-opening, and just coming out of the head and into the heart again for intentionally visualizing my future. It's it's just a really interesting experience, and just trying to let go of any guilt or worry or all of those things that are still kind of in my system from the wedding, worrying about not doing them proud, worrying about not being strong on the day, worrying about not doing the best job that I possibly could for the people getting married. And compared to this, where I just knew I was the right person for the job, I 120 million% knew I'm the right person for this job with Tila. And there was not a single shred of doubt in my mind. And I absolutely loved every minute of this. And a massive part of that is having the freedom and, I suppose, the control, if you like, of being able to choose exactly where we go. Obviously we didn't get to choose the weather, but look how lucky we were. We couldn't believe it. We were so excited when we saw the sunlight, but choose the posing, just work together one-to-one and create, compared to sometimes when you're at an event you have to rush and work with what's there in front of you, and it's just a completely different way of doing photography. It's a completely different thing. And so I think before, when I thought that I'd lost my mojo for photography, I hadn't really. I just started to associate photography with situations where I put myself across in a certain way, or I don't know, like conform or follow the rules or do the tick list of shots. Once I had this job, it was only a few years ago, and I had to photograph an event, and I cropped the images panoramic, put some in black and white, and the feedback I got was, we just want colour, no cropping, nothing artistic. And it was so soulless, it was so soulless. And I just want that freedom, guys, to create another level of energy in my art. And this is how the freedom to choose, the freedom to let your imagination go wild, and without feeling guilty that you're not going to be there for the people that ask you to do this job that you don't feel like you want to do. Because if you don't want to do it, you're not the right photographer for the job. And they need somebody who's really passionate about it and really loves it. And I've been so aware of this, which is what's caused a lot of my inner turmoil with the wedding. Anyway, I will stop talking about the wedding at some point. Yeah, I'm sure you've heard enough. Anyway, guys, thank you for staying with me. It's an absolute pleasure to be here. and I can't wait to see what unfolds next. Bye!